Hi guys, today I want to introduce you to this new popular technique which is called the gel powder dip system. It's very similar to resin and powder for those of you who use that technique already, or for dip systems in general. The difference is it's basically a UV gel in a bottle, so it's a brush on gel, and you're gonna cook it. So that's basically the difference. It's very similar when you're going to do the actual application. So today I want to introduce you to this particular brand, which is called Kloé Gel. This is a brand that is very healthy for your natural nails and is going to help actually your natural nails grow. It's Big Five free. All of the products that they sell, the Kloé Gel brand, are Big Five free, so that means it doesn't have those 5 ingredients that you can see on the bottle that you would usually find in other brands or other products, such as gel polishes or regular nail polishes. If you want to go ahead and Google those ingredients, you will find that they're very, very toxic for your health, and they are not in this product and not in the products that they carry for the Kloé Gel brand. So this particular product that we're going to be using today is called Flexy UV LED. So it is both LED and UV compatible. It depends on the light system that you have. It's a 3-in-1. So basically you're going to need this bottle for the whole set. You can use it with clear powder. You can use it with a colored powder. It depends. Today we're going to use both. I want to show you this particular clear powder from Kloé. It's very, very thin. As you can see, it's very smooth. It's bubble free, so that means it won't ever give you those bubbles or those white dots. It's very transparent, translucid. You can also apply it on top of your designs or on top of the actual color if that's the way you usually work. So I really recommend this clear powder. So you could do your whole set with the gel, the Flexy UV, and the clear powder, and then you could go ahead and finish off with the gel polish and a top coat, or you can start with just the clear powder and the Flexy UV, and then go ahead and continue with the colored powder on top of it, which is what we're going to be doing today. Kloé powders are very smooth as well and very, very thin. So I love this brand. It's compatible with everything. Even the clear one, all their powders are acrylic based powders. So you could use it with acrylic, you could use it with resin, a dip system, or even the gel. All gel brands really, and especially with this particular brand, they're very opaque. You only need 2 coats and it's going to cover the whole nail. You can do designs with them. You can pretty much do anything that you want. So today this is what we're going to be using. I'll be doing my thumb, and you can see the whole process. So like I was saying, this product is really a 3-in-1, so you can use it as a base coat. It's going to be your base coat. You can use it for your overlay with or without powder. It's really up to you. It's much stronger with powder, but it depends on the length of your actual nail. You can use it on tips and on a natural nail. And you're going to be using this also bottle for the top coat as well. So if, for instance, you want to just do a thin coat of Flexy UV as your base, you could do Flexy UV and then apply some gel polish color on top of your nail, and then cook it again, and then go ahead and put this product, the Flexy UV, as your top coat. It would be compatible with all gel polishes, all hard gels or gel colors. So you could use this product only as your base and as your top, not even as your overlay. But today we're going to use it with this powder. So the first step I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be prepping my nail. As you can see, it's very simple. I'm just going to push back my cuticles, make sure that there's nothing in there. And you'll see that the technique is very similar. Even the preparation of the nail is very similar to resin and powder. The difference is it's going to be we're not going to be using a buffer today. So I'm going to start, after I pushed back my cuticles, I'm going to start with my Pro Tool. This is the one that I use, this brand. We've been using it for almost 18 years now. And I'm going to use my cuticle bit that is going to help me remove all the cuticles around my nail bed. So I'm going to use this tool. It's not mandatory, but it helps. I find it helps the nail grow faster, and it makes sure that it grows healthier, and that you can't really see a demarcation. So it's very it's very useful, but it's not mandatory, as I said. So I'm going to use it now, and I'm going to use it right before I put my top coat, to make sure that there's no dust left or any cuticle or product that would be left around my thumb. So yeah, so this is a very nice tool that I highly recommend. It goes very fast. I only need one thumb, and you could use it to remove gel. You could use it to remove acrylic. Of course, you would change your little drill bits, but that's it. It's compatible with everything. So now I'm gonna, like I said, we're not gonna be using a buffer today. That's the main difference between this nail preparation and the one from Resin and Powder. I'm just going to be filing today my nail bed. So I'm going to be using this Kloé file, which is really great. It's 180 and 100, so both sides are different. I'm going to slightly file my nail so that it gets really rough, right? So I want it to be rough so that the gel is going to be able to really stick on top of my nail bed. As I said, Kloé Gel is a brand that really wants to use the healthiest ingredients possible. So we're not going to be using any of those primers or anything, just alcohol and the Flexy UV. So that's why this preparation is very important. If I go ahead and buff it, which I don't want to do, like you can see here, it's very smooth. That's the problem that most girls do when they first start with using gel in general, is that they really smooth out the surface, which makes the gel not stick properly on the nail bed, and so it usually peels off when you do that. So that's why we don't want to work with the buffer. We really want to just go ahead and scratch the whole nail surface. And I'm very gentle with it. I'm not pushing, I'm not applying any pressure, just making sure that it's really rough and that I get those lines. Don't worry, those lines won't you won't be able to see them afterwards. It's not a problem. It's just to make sure that everything is going to stick properly. So after that, I want to shape my nail. I really want to make sure that I shape my nail now, because after the whole set, I won't be able to do it because we're going to be sealing the edges every time, every layer. So I don't want to remove that seal. It's very important. It's going to make the difference between if your nail set is going to chip or not. So that's why I really want to go ahead and file right now. I'm going to ask my client, do you want it round shaped? Do you want it square? What's the shape that you want? And I'm going to do it now. So I just dust off my dust, and I'm gonna apply some alcohol. Regular alcohol is fine. And this is just to make sure that there are no more shininess or shiny spots whatsoever on my nail bed. So as you will see, I want to remove all my products before I start my set, because the dust, the gel really takes all the dust. So I'm making sure that I remove all the dust around me first, and then I go ahead and I use this 2x2 that is lint free. It won't leave lints because the gel is very sticky and it's gonna really absorb everything. So now I just really clean my nail surface, and I really go ahead and do it. I'm not just pretending I'm doing it. I'm really going all the way around my cuticles everywhere to make sure that it's very dry. And as you can see, you wait for it to evaporate a little bit, and you can see where the spots are. If you have any missing spots, shiny spots, you will see them right now. And if not, it's going to be perfectly dry. So now we're going to go ahead and start our process. So first things is I'm going to be using, like I said, I'm going to do the gel system, the clear powder. Always I start with the clear powder because when I'm going to use the color on top, if ever my client comes back and she wants to just remove that color, you don't want to redo the whole set, right? Especially if you have fake tips on, you don't want to remove them because it takes a couple of refills for your natural nails to fully grow underneath. So that is why I always start with 1 coat or 2 coats of clear powder. It will depend on your client. If she's rough, you better put 2 coats. If the client is transitioning from an acrylic set and she's doing the gel, she's switching products, it's better to go ahead and do 2 coats because her nail is not really used to it. It's going to take a couple of sets for it to get used to it. If she has very long nails, you want to do 2 coats. But if you're like me and you're used to it and you've done a couple of sets on yourself before and you have my length, you can go ahead and just put 1 coat because after that I'm going to put 2 coats of color. So that's why with this gel, we just want to make sure that we never fully remove everything. We don't soak into the acetone or anything. We always keep a small layer of gel and of clear underneath everything. So when the client comes back, she's gonna you're gonna actually remove the color, and once the color is off, you will be on the clear powder first layer that you did. So you'll know you won't hurt your client's natural nails. So first step is basically to take a little bit of gel, not too much, not too thick, not too thin, just like a regular top coat that you would apply. And I'm gonna apply it everywhere. So I always start in the middle so that I have more on my stress area, and then I go forward I go forward towards my cuticles. I want to have a very thin coat around the cuticles so that the demarcation won't be shown so easily. And then I go ahead and apply it everywhere. The very important thing is to seal your edges, especially if you're on natural nails. Because if you don't, that's when it's gonna chip. So you make sure that you really go ahead and put product, not too much though, but not too little either. That's why I flip my nail over and I make sure that I really went underneath. So that's the first step. So once it's done, as you can see, I'm really done with my edges. I make sure that it went everywhere. And I'm gonna be ready to dip into my powder. As you can see, the gel is it's not too thick, it's not too thin, but it's self-leveling. So you have time to do all your nails before you go ahead and cook. That's very important. It's gonna self-level, you're gonna be able to apply it everywhere. And yeah, so I would do all my nails and then dip, and then I would cook everything. So you do have time. So now I'm gonna simply, you could either spread powder or dip into the jar. I personally like to spread the powder because I can control where I put the powder. So for instance, if you want to do a C curve, you could put more powder in the middle instead of on the sides or around the cuticles. You can insist really on the stress area. That's very important. And I always dip my free edge into the powder just to double check, just to make sure that this very thin area is well covered, because usually that's where natural nails tend to break. So, and then I'm gonna just make sure that I dab my finger a little so that I remove the extra powder that's on the finger, and that's it. I'm ready to cook. If you have an hybrid light like mine, it's probably LED and UV, so you will want to set it to the LED mode and just cook for 30 seconds. If you have a regular UV light, depending on your wattage, if it's 9 watts, I would recommend a 2 minutes at least cooking time, and if it's LED, if it's a UV more than 9 watts, you would do 1 minute is enough, especially if you have like a 36 or a 48. So once I'm done with my first layer, if you want to do a second coat of clear, you can. Now would be the time to do it. You would apply another layer of Flexy UV first. You would seal your edges just like we just did now, and then you would spread your powder everywhere or dip into the jar, and then you would cook again. But I won't be doing that today because my nails are strong enough. So I'm gonna go and directly start with my color. So like I said, the Kloé colors are very thin, so that's why I'm going to be able to spread them very, very easily. So I start by taking a little bit of Flexy UV, so just like you can see, not too much, not too little. And so I'm going to oversaturate my powder. You will see the powder when it comes out of the light, you'll see it's very dry. So once you apply the Flexy UV on top, the gel, you'll see that it gets very smooth. It looks like a top coat. It looks like it's very shiny. You want the powder to be absorbed by the gel. So as soon as it's very shiny, you'll know that you're done. If it's not shiny enough, that means you didn't apply enough product. So you really want to go everywhere, and you want to again seal your edges before you dip into the powder. So if, for instance, you want another C curve, you could do it with the gel like I'm doing now. I'm just going to take a little bit and put it in my stress area and make a nice and bumpy look. It's really up to you. Like I said, this gel is very self-leveling, so it's gonna place itself. You can flip the nail, and it's really with gravity, it's gonna place itself. I would do this after the color though, because it's gonna look nicer, but you can go ahead and do it whenever. And just make sure though, if you're doing this technique, don't wait to do the other fingers. Maybe just flash dry a little bit for 10 seconds just so it stays there, because you would apply something very thick, so you don't want it to leak. Then you're gonna apply the powder, right? So I'm spreading it everywhere. You really want a full coverage. If you don't have a full coverage, that means you didn't put enough Flexy UV everywhere. That's it. It's the only reason. And like you just saw, I dabbed into a little bit in my jar, just the free edge, to make sure that it's really straightened. And that's it. I'm gonna cook again for 30 seconds. The timing, the cooking time is the same thing if you're doing if you're using a UV light, it would be the same thing. So 9 watts would be 2 minutes and more, but I would say 2 minutes, and the 24 watts or 48 watts would be 1 minute only. But for the LED unit, you just only need 30 seconds for it to be properly cooked. All right, so now I'm done. So I want a color that's going to be a bit more than that, so more coverage. So I'm going to apply already a second coat of powder. So what I want to do is take again a little bit of Flexy UV, not too thick, not too thin, just the same way you just applied it, really. And you're going to again apply it everywhere on the whole nail surface. And you're going to make sure that you don't, you're gonna make sure that you have enough on your brush, and that you don't put too little product. You want to absorb the powder. You want it to look shiny. You want it to to drink the gel, literally. So that means if you're able to achieve that, it's going to be very strong. Because the gel powder dip system is very strong. It's as strong as acrylics. It's as strong as gel, hard gels, or resin and powder. If it's done properly, you won't have a problem with that. And for the natural nails, the real trick is to really seal your edges properly. If you do that, you won't have any chipping and you won't have any cracking. The product is also non-yellowing, so you won't have that kind of problem either. It's non-porous, so it won't absorb other colors. So once it's sealed. So I've just applied the powder. Again, I'm making sure that it didn't leak. It's not gonna leak, but you never know. So I just double check to make sure. And I'm gonna cook one final time with the powder for, again, 30 seconds. So the cooking time is always the same, no matter what you do. So it's a very easy technique. You just need to practice it a little bit. It's very fast. So a full set on a natural nail should take you not more than 30 minutes. With the tips, it should take you 45. So it's just a matter of knowing how much to put. But that, with a little practice, you'll handle the right quantity for each client. So now that it's cooked, it's sticky because it's a gel, but it's also powder looking. So I don't want to file a powdered surface. It's not going to look nice. So that's why I want to do one final coat, but this coat will be without any powder whatsoever. So it's only going to be one last coat of Flexy UV on top of what we just did, so the whole nail surface. So I'm just gonna drop a little bit. I always drop towards the end, the free edge, because it's gonna make it stronger, and that's where we want our strength. So I'm gonna go ahead and apply the product everywhere. And of course, every time I apply Flexi UV, I'm never touching those cuticles. I want to be very thin around the cuticles because it's going to make the difference if I don't want to have too much filing to do. And I'm making sure again that I'm capping the free edge. It's very important. It's going to make the difference between a nail that's going to chip or not. So once it's done, I double check around my cuticles that it didn't touch them. And I'm going to go ahead and cook one final time. 30 seconds. If ever you want to apply a clear coat of powder on top of your color because you want to protect that color before you file, some techniques you can actually do that. You can do it with the Flexi UV. What you would have done is you would have put the Flexi UV just like I did. You would have spread some clear powder on top. You would have cooked for 30 seconds. And then you would have done your final step, which we just did, the one clear coat of Flexi UV without anything. And you would have cooked one last time. It's really up to you. So as you can see, it's sticky, so I'm going to remove the stickiness with my alcohol or Prep and Clean, making sure that there's no sticky parts or residues anywhere. And then we're going to gently start our filing. So you don't want to file too much because the color is going to remove itself. So I'm going to use a very soft grid. It's the 180 that I use. And you're going to be using the buffer as well. So you're going to start around the cuticles, gently filing, just to make sure that there's no bumps, that there's no residues stuck on the cuticle. And you're going to make sure that there's nothing that it's really smooth and nice looking, so that when your client is gonna come back for a refill, you won't have a lot of jobs to do. It's gonna be easier for you. So just making sure that it's not too thick so that the demarcation won't show when it's gonna start to grow, and making sure that it's there's no bumps, there's nothing left. Once that's done, you can go ahead and file your edges and your free edge as well, but make sure that you do not file in a 90 degrees angle, because you're going to remove all the sealing that we just did, and you may cause chipping. So make sure that you do it with an angle of 45 degrees, and you do it gently, softly. So once that's done, we're going to like I said, it's not now that you're going to do the shape. You've already done your shape, so you should be satisfied with your shape by now. And as you can see, it's very smooth, and that's because our powder and our gel are very compatible. And now I'm just gonna buff everywhere to make sure that it's nice looking, it's smooth, there are no bumps, there's nothing that's left on the surface. And because I don't want a shiny surface before I'm gonna apply my top coat, so making sure that I'm removing as much shininess as possible. Now I'm dusting my nails off to make sure I don't have any dust. I'm gonna prep and clean again with my alcohol, let it dry a little bit, and then we're gonna go ahead and use our top coat. So as I said before, the Flexy UV is a 3-in-1, so it is actually as well a top coat. You could use it, no problem. It's going to be super resistant, it's going to be shiny, it's going to look nice. The only thing is, it's going to be sticky. So you're going to have to pass your prep and clean or your alcohol right after you've cooked. The cooking time is 60 seconds in an LED light, because all the top coats in general, that's the right amount to cook. But I personally use the top coat no wipe. No wipe as in it's not going to be sticky, so it's going to be shiny, dry, instantly after you've done your cooking time of 60 seconds. So I use this one because it's the one that we always use for all the designs, the chromes, the mirror effects, the auroras. It's always that top coat that we use, so might as well just use it all the time. This one is also compatible with all the different brands. If you want to go ahead and use it on top of your shellac or any other gel brand, you can. On top of acrylic, it's compatible with everything. So I'm going to use this one. And why is that? It's because when the Flexy UV first came out, the top coat no wipe wasn't invented yet. So that's why now that it is, it's a bit easier and faster for us to use that top coat. But like I said, you can use both. So this top coat is a Big 5 free as well. It's by Kloé gel, so same brand. I'm going to apply just one coat. I don't need more than that. Just one coat, not too thick, not too thin. And I'm going to make sure that I'm going to seal the edges as well. And I'm going to cook it for 60 seconds, as you can see. So I apply it everywhere, not touching the cuticles as always. And like I said, not too thick, not too thin. And I'm sealing my edges because remember I just filed them a little bit. So I'm making sure, double checking that I'm really sealing those edges so that it doesn't chip. Especially if you're on a natural nail. If you're on a tip, it's not that bad, but if you're on natural nail, it's very important not to miss this step. So like I said, I'm gonna really cook it for 60 seconds in an LED light because it looks shinier and it's stronger that way. And if you would have done a design, a chrome or anything, you would go ahead and cook for only 30 seconds and then you would apply your chrome. But now that I'm not doing anything on top of that, it's my final coat, 60 seconds is enough. So there you have it. That's the gel dip powder technique using only one product. the Flexy UV the whole time, or another, the top coat, if you want to go ahead and use that as a top coat, the top coat no wipe. But it's a very good product. I'm telling you again, it doesn't have the 5 ingredients that are toxic that you can find in other regular nail polishes or other gel brands. So very healthy for your nails. The whole point of this technique is to make your nails stronger and look nicer. And so you can use it with clear powder, and you could use it with the gel polish on top, or just clear powder and a colored powder. So you can always use also the top coat matte if you want to have that matte, not shiny effect look. So you would use the matte top coat from Kloé gel as well. So there you have it. You have this beautiful technique that is the gel powder dip system with the Flexy UV. It's a great technique. It's super simple, super easy to apply. It's faster than any technique out there. As you saw in this video, the application is very fast, and you only need one product. If you want to have other types of top coats, just like the no wipe or the matte, of course you're gonna have 2 products. But if you don't want to, it's easy. It's just one product the whole session, the whole set. You're not gonna need any primers or any bonders or anything else, which is really amazing. And like I said, it's super healthy and strong for your nails. So if you have nail biters, or if you have girls that they want to grow their natural nails, you can start with the technique, the gel powder technique on top of a tip, and then you do 1 or 2 refills, that's it, and then you remove those tips and you go and work straightly, directly on their natural nails, and there you have it. So it's faster, it's stronger than any other technique. I want to say it's as strong at least as acrylic or gel or hard gels, or resin and powder. So that's why I really like it. But you can do a full set within 30 minutes or 45 minutes if you're using tips. So that's amazing, because it's going to save you a lot of time and a lot of money, because you won't have to buy any primers or bonders or whatsoever other product out there. And what I love about this is there's practically no filing at all. As you saw in my video, I did like a very slightly soft filing with the buffer and the file, but it took me like 30 seconds tops. So whereas when you're working with acrylic or gels, you have a lot of filing to do. This technique, the whole point is that you're gonna apply your coats and your powder, and it's gonna look thin directly. It's gonna look nice. It's gonna look smooth. So it's easier for you to work with. So there you have it. I invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel. I can click on subscribe, and you can follow us, and we're going to put up some more videos about this technique. Thank you. Have a nice day.